Greetings. My name is Nicola D'Andrea, and the topic of my site report will be about the ancient Greek city of Mycenae. Founded sometime around 1350 to 1200 BC and home to the mythical king Agamemnon, Mycenae is widely recognized as being one of the most important cities in the history of ancient Greece. The Mycenaean state as a whole was responsible for numerous innovations in a variety of fields. By far, their most important contribution to history was the first written account of the Greek language in Linear B. The advancement of military infrastructure, architecture, and engineering can also be attributed to the Mycenaeans. They were all proficient in the art of trade and made the exchange of goods throughout the Mediterranean a significant aspect of their economy. It is likely that much of their success can be attributed to their ability to make contact with neighboring civilizations that would have been inaccessible for other states of Greece. The city itself is located between two hills on a rocky peak about 8 miles from the sea and the plains of Argos. Much of the strength attributed to the city of Mycenae is due to its natural position. It is a prime location to defend from invading forces, as it would have been impossible for them to remain unobserved before reaching the city's walls. It would have been equally as difficult for invaders to approach from the sea unnoticed. Given the admirable placement of the city, numerous settlements began to form within the vicinity, allowing the local economy to prosper. Today, the most visible examples of Mycenaean architecture at the modern site of Mycenae are massive walls that were used to fortify the city, and the remains of a once grand palace that covered the majority of the hill in which the Acropolis stood on. The walls, the remains of the palace, the infamous Lion's Gate, the tomb of Clytemnestra, the treasury of Atreus, which is otherwise known as the tomb of Agamemnon, make up the most important works of architecture from the city of Mycenae. Equally as remarkable as these landmarks was the existence of a secret passage that led to an underground cistern, which was made possible by a system of aqueducts connected to a nearby spring, which were also underground. It is important to mention that within the walls were a handful of wells that provided residents with water on a regular basis, as well as a cistern used to collect rainwater. All of this will be discussed in detail throughout my paper. For the moment, I will briefly provide some background information. Widely accepted by scholars as the most compelling example of Mycenaean architecture is the treasury of Atreus. This particular burial structure can be recognized by its resemblance of a beehive. This was done through the process of corbelling, which is layering stones closer together toward the top of the structure. Known as a tholos tomb, this style of burial was primarily popular in the Mediterranean and West Asia. The tomb of Clytemnestra was constructed using the same style, but it is not as large as its counterpart. The walls of the city of Mycenae were built in a style known as Cyclopean. This meant that the material used to create them was fitted together rather roughly. No mortar was used for the most part, and the majority of the material was not chiseled or adjusted in size before becoming part of the structure. The walls of Mycenae were primarily built using limestone. The infamous Lion's Gate was constructed using the same method. This structure was the primary entrance of the city of Mycenae. This is the Lion's Gate. You can see where it gets its name from. In the world we live in today, water is considered to be a basic human right. However, for an individual living in antiquity, many struggled to develop secure access to water. The Greeks' ability to consistently provide their cities with water proved to be a key factor in the growth of their many city-states. They accomplished this feat through their extraordinary understanding of the aqueduct and cisterns. An aqueduct is an artificial channel for conducting water from a distance. This is typically accomplished by means of gravity. The water channel can be an open or buried trench, in a tunnel, in a pipe, or on a bridge. For the sake of efficiency, Greek engineers preferred to build the majority of these systems underground. This was especially important when it came to the development of water access in large cities, like Mycenae. A cistern was typically constructed using stone and was essentially a reservoir used to store rainwater or water fed to it by an aqueduct. They were primarily cylindrical, but archaeologists have discovered rectangular cisterns. While cisterns were commonly used for agricultural purposes, ancient Greeks utilized them also during water shortages. However, cisterns were inefficient as it required a tremendous amount of maintenance to ensure that the water was safe for human consumption. It is important to mention that I did not cover the remains of the palace at Mycenae. I will discuss this in my paper, but it will simply be a few paragraphs about general Mycenaean palace architecture, since I was only able to find a limited amount of information regarding the one at Mycenae. That's going to be the end of this video. I hope it was enjoyable and informative. Thank you.